the top of your head, or you did what she did initially and you forgot the formula. Now, she was able to fix the letters without struggling. All right, she realized she put the VF and the VI backwards, and so she said, nope, I got it backwards, Miss Wall, and she fixed it herself. But if you forget that and you're not certain, you can look it up on your reference table, your yellow sheet. You get to use that on every test and every quiz. That's not a problem. Okay? Now, what number goes in for VI? Lewis?
25.
All right, the 25 is the first one. Remember, I said what's VI. Okay, the first one is the 65. That's the first one. Okay, the 25 is the what? The last one, the final. That's the second one. So that's the V final. All right, what's the 4?
That's the time.
That's the time. So now we can plug in. So A equals, what's my VF?
25.
25. Subtract 65 over 4. All right, now I can probably do that. Not yet, but let's not try. All right, 25 minus 65 is negative 40. Negative 40 divided by 4 is negative 10. All right, so now we need units. What units are on top?
Miles an hour.
Miles per hour over seconds. Keely, at the risk of really, really irritating you today, thank you, ma'am. Now, number 2, how long does it take for a car to travel 1,250 miles at 55 miles per hour? All right, Nathan, what formula would we use here? What do you think if that's your test question tomorrow?
This one, number 2.
Number 2. If you had to pick a formula, which one would you lean towards on the test tomorrow? Okay. So, Nathan has said speed. Is that the only formula that we could use tomorrow on the test? Yeah.
On the wasp killing.
Okay.
Oh, so you killing
That wasp
killing they killing the water?
All right. Is that the only formula we can use tomorrow on the test for this?
No, you go with the V equals DC.
There you go. Now, this is one of the connections that I've been trying to get y'all to understand. Speed and velocity are what? The same. So do you have to pick one or the other?
No.
No, you can use either one. Which one is on the reference table, Chris? Which one's on the reference table? Do you remember? That's the one that's not on the reference table. So when you look at your reference table, this one is on the reference table if you forget it and want to look it up tomorrow. This one is not on the reference table, but these two formulas are the same. You can choose either one because they're the same formula. It doesn't matter which one you pick. Okay? So, what are we solving for in the formula? If it says how long, time. Okay? So tomorrow when I'm grading your response sections, you're going to bubble the multiple choice like always, but what should I see written down on your test papers? I should see work. Okay? Like yesterday when y'all were doing the plickers and y'all were just punching on the calculators. Should I see a bunch of blank test papers where y'all just punched on the calculators? No. I should see work so that y'all do the problems right. So I should see, let's just say that this is our question, and you know you're looking for time. So what's the speed in this question? In this question, number 2. Okay, 55. So what's my distance then?
12.
All right,
So that one, the answer's going to be 20.
Hold on. So how do I solve for the time?
Divide. Cross multiply, then divide.
All right, so cross multiply. So 55 times t is 55t, and then you get 1250. So once you get there, everybody knows how to get t by itself. What do you do to get t by itself? Divide by 55. Okay? Now, the reason I want you to write that down and do it on your paper is because, and you get 22.7, and then your hours are going to be your unit because your miles cancel out. Okay? Now, the reason I want you to write that down is when I calculated the wrong answers, I multiplied these two numbers together. So that answer's on the test. So if all you do is multiply, that answer's there. If you divide it the wrong way, that answer's on the test. I did that. Okay? So if you pick up the calculator and just multiply, or you pick up the calculator and divide the wrong way, are you going to find an answer? Probably going to think, I got this right. I did great on this test as well. I got you. And then you're going to turn it in, and I'm going to grade it, and you're going to get it back the next day, and you'll be like, what did I do wrong? Okay? So show your work so that you can go through the steps and not make dumb errors. All right, so number 3.
Wait. So it's miles and hours.
The miles cancel out because this one had miles on it, and this one had miles per hour. So the miles are going to cancel out, and there was 20-something hours. 22, 27. I just erased it.
You got an eraser?
Have you erased it? Probably.
22.7.
Yeah.
So hours.
Yeah.
So
All right, so number 3, it's asking for velocity. Nathan, what's the velocity formula? We just talked about it. Shh. What's the velocity formula, Nathan? It's on your yellow card. Where's your yellow card? Pull it out. Nathan, what's the velocity formula?
Oh, velocity.
Distance over time. All right. So, velocity equals distance over time. So, I'm solving for velocity here. What's my distance, Nishan?
Your distance is going to be.
All right, so 450.
The time error is 8 hours.
Okay. So, 450 divided by 8 is what?
56.
Okay.
56.
I'm going to stretch that out a little bit. So, 56.25 according to Maria. And I get, what unit do I put on my answer?
Miles per hour.
All right, I heard several people say the right answer. When you calculate velocity, you have to write a what? A direction. What did I give you in the question? I said east. There's no south in that question. Okay, so one of your answers on the test will say 56.25 miles per hour. One of the answers will say 56.25 miles per hour east. If you don't pick the east, you've given me a what?
Just nothing.
That's called a what if it doesn't have a direction?
Speed.
It's called a speed. Okay, speed has no direction. Velocity has a direction. All right, so you have to give me the direction to be a velocity. Without the direction, it's just a speed. Everybody with us on that?
We don't write the direction they're going.
It'll be multiple choice. So one of the answers will say 56.25 miles per hour, and one will say 56.25 miles per hour east. Okay? All right, the last one. Calculate momentum. What was the formula for momentum? Cynthia, shh, I'm calling on people.
I didn't know.
I know, because you blurt constantly. Cynthia, what's the formula for momentum? It's on the sheet. Yes. Okay. So the formula is P equals MV. All right. So what are we solving for in this question, Drew? What?
Momentum, right?
Yeah. So we're solving for momentum. So what letter is that? I'm just calling on people randomly. All right, so what do I know in the question? Rachel, give me something I know.
You can't see.
Shh.
The math is 450.
All right, 4,500 kilograms. All right, so that means I got to know my V. What's my V, Jameer? Look at the problem. You can probably figure it out. There you go. All right, it's amazing what happens when you look at the board. All right, so what do I do to get the answer, Devin? Okay,
And you gonna get, can I tell you what you gonna get? $225,000.
okay. Tell me the numbers.
22530.
Okay. So, what's the unit on this? We didn't really talk about this yesterday. Look at your units. Does anything cancel out?
No, so you add it all.
You got to write it all. So KGM over S. You just write it all down. Nothing is the same. Can I what? You can. You can do a slash. So instead of that, you mean like slash?
Yeah.
Yes, it's the same thing. Exact same thing. Nothing wrong with it.
I'm not understanding why you have KGM.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why I know what you're.
Because nothing is the same here. So you've got KG and you've got that. So you keep them all.
I said what I have.
Okay. All right, we're going to practice momentum for just a little bit, and then we're going to finish our laps.
Oh, getting more going?
Today was 12.
We need more gum to finish the lap.
That's my
Did
birthday.
you do data yesterday?
Oh, no, I need to help you concentrate.
I got the kiss you. It's your best friend. It's your best friend's birthday.
I know I wrote my paragraph on Facebook. You don't gotta tell me I know.
I ain't seen that.
All right, we're going to take about 15 minutes tops to do this. This part is really easy. I want you to calculate momentum in the chart at the top. What's the formula for momentum again?
Mass times volume.
Mass times
This
velocity. All right? And then I want you to put them in order, number 2.
Mass times.
If we do a good job, I might just break out the gum for the lab again. So hurry up. So I do a good job. How are you lost? Who's lost?
I ain't dating her.
Come on, Mark. Come on. Time is fast. If you're still stuck here, you might as well calculate.
Marco.
You hear me? I'm Jason. Come on. Do paper.
It'd been the first week.
Huh? Yeah. What's the formula? It's on your yellow card. What are you yellow card on? You don't have to memorize it. That's what I'm telling you.
Last
It's
year.
on the card.
Shut up last year.
South Africa room.
I'm not bad. I ain't make good kids.
All right, you're finding momentum. So what's your momentum formula?
Joey.
Right there. So that's your formula you're using. You're finding P, you've got mass, and you've got velocity. All right, so you're doing increasing. So you go from what to what? Yep. And don't put them in numbers. Use the names.
Oh, wow.
I left the M. It's on this
Yes,
one.
ma'am.
Is this one?
Yes.
This whole sheet.
I want you to do as much of it as you can before I stop you.
What?
All right, I gotta do the attendance real quick before I forget it.
What do you think?
What's that?
That you use the names.
Like that? Okay.
Margaret, Devin, Maria, Tim, Taylor. Devin's not here. Louis, Tanya told me she wasn't gonna be here.
On the wall.
Julie's here. Rachel's here, no Jesus today. He's supposed to be having his eye thing.
That's today.
I think you told me today.
They
Thank you,
So you
please.
told me last week, so I
So
can't
what
remember.
about the height and the low?
That was 22nd.
Maybe you did. Well, you told me Wednesday.
Low.
22nd could be next week, though.
No, there's.
What happened?
The ones that we just.
You got oil on his arm.
Yeah.
What it was.
Will you put the name?
It goes down. You don't know if it's going to surgery or not. You know if it's going down. Mark, you still sick?
Bro, I'm not sick, I got allergies.
So was her aunt. I look, my eyes are water. My nose.
Not
Hey,
ours,
Mark,
but-
Andre,
I said the
work.
same thing this morning.
Marco, Carlos, work. Y'all work, I'm not giving you gum.
You like what? Like, you use it.
I'm done.
I'm just playing. Baby spit it out.
I want to.
Nah. Then we have to put it in there.
Louis missed the whole thing.
Do we got put the
No.
No.
money after? Like, do we got?
Who's there?
Do we got put the number?
You.
Good.
The name.
The name?
Was
We
you
didn't cover
later?
that up. Wait a minute.
Okay.
That's it, not, food program.
It is today.
What kind of life you still want to respond to?
It says.
Ms. Walker.
Yep, on 4B,
I know.
when,
Before
in the basketball,
I just want to.
can the master philosophy be different? Yes, that was the question we talked about yesterday. They can be different and still have the same momentum. Alright, so what's the master
I know
this
this is
philosophy
mumbling with my facts.
in this moment?
Look at that lunch.
What is that?
He's mumbling.
But there. Remains.
How do you say it? Oh, okay. I was thinking about this.
Yeah, you got it.
You said.
Yes. What's the question?
Am I doing this wrong? I feel like I'm doing
Just a quick glance, I'd say no, you're doing it fine. You multiply the mass and the velocities together, then you're fine. All right, we'll grab your pencil. All right, so see how you read in the question, it says momentum. That tells you use P equals M times V.
So I was going to do.
Okay,
They
what
sit
is
when you
momentum? Is it P, M, or V?
And them just like, they
Come by
they learn.
Nope, it's P.
Uh-huh.
Where's your yellow card?
That clock almost sound like you walk in. I get bit, one of them with two of them gone. You gonna have like two dogs.
You'll be crying like a baby.
Right.
Ms. Wall,
Yes,
I need Keely Hill to the office. She will be returning.
okay,
Thank you.
welcome.
Come on with this player. Oh my boy. Okay, so her mama said, yeah.
And you really have to give her a hard time by doing that to her class. She's probably already mad at me. If her mom's not gonna let her go home, she's dad will be mad at her mom. And you're gonna make a seedy class.
That wasn't me, that was everybody else.
Y'all stop yelling at her. Leave her be. She's mad at Miss Wall, now she's gonna be mad at her mama, and now she's gonna be mad at y'all. She's gonna blame on somebody out of her mom. Me.
It's like, you
Alright, so, see how it says P? See how it says P is momentum? Okay, so momentum of 45. So you're gonna put 45, momentum is equal, what is the mass? So you're solving for mass. Alright, times, because they give you velocity. You're gonna put 5, the velocity of V is. Now how would you solve for that if you're in math class?
Well, you need to think right there.
What?
What's the opposite of multiply?
That I'm not going to what?
Divide.
I know, that's what I told him.
Alright, are we down to at least like number 5?
No.
Alright, so when you get down to number 5, you gotta use the graph to answer the question.
Yeah, I don't understand this because the point is zero, so I'm supposed to.
What is?
To answer A, B, and C, you have to use the graph.
I know.
Yep. You're reading the graph to do A. Describe the point in the balls. So what time
This deal.
did the ball have 0 momentum? Describe the point in the ball's motion. Yeah. Apparently I ran out. I'll get one other time.
Oh, what you find? What about?
Stick these back there. You got me sitting there. I ain't even sitting, it's my allergies.
Ew, bro. Yeah. Okay, that's your ass. Wait, not about Kiwi.
You don't do it. Me and Bill already talked about it. My senior year.
Oh, yeah.
We all gonna come to 111.
Skittles Lambo, bro. That's the go.
I know. We got a
She probably go all the way back to South Carolina.
Let's take it back up.
It's a body can work those two. Hey, bro, we gonna run them though. That 200,000, I mean, that 2,000. That's brother.
You?
Like 900. That's still a lot. I mean, that's good. It's not a lot.
I was about to say, that's not even half the price of a gun needed to hold it.
Right, especially if you want.
Chris, stop. We're not interested in the price of a Lamborghini.
I don't really care about that.
They're the same, they just changed the number. Right?
You know me, I'm just trying to take my girl. These white dollars from my girl. He's all somebody's girlfriend. It's all
That's what it's like now.
his dog. I know you listen. Why you looking at me like that?
Remember what I said? Like,
Are we going over?
Yep. Alright,
At the table?
so if we look at the first one, is everybody okay with the numbers in the chart?
Yeah, got for the rest of it.
Yeah.
Got for the rest of
I wasn't talking. I just said turn around. Did I say stop talking? She said, yeah.
Now, in number 2, I said put them in order of increasing momentum. So if I say increasing, what do you have to start with? Least to greatest. So who's the least?
Blackbird.
Okay, so we got the blackbird, and then we go to the, and then we go to the, and then we go to the,
Football player.
and then the skier. Everybody good? And I used abbreviations there. All right, number 3. What are we solving for in the question? All right, so you've got momentum equals mass times velocity. So we've got momentum is 45, mass we don't know, and velocity is 5. Now, a couple people who I've helped said, Miss Wall, do I multiply or do I divide? Look at this right here. What is that math operation right there? So what's the opposite of multiply?
Divide.
Use that information to help you figure out if you multiply or divide. Remember, you're always doing the opposite to get what you need. So 45 divided by 5 is, so 9 kilograms. Number 4, you've got 10 kilograms and a velocity of 5. An object B has a mass of 5 and velocity of 10. So it said compare their momentums. Well, the first thing you need to do is calculate their momentums. So object A has 10 times 5, which is 50. And object B has 5 times 10, which is 50. So what can you tell me about their momentums? Okay, they're the same. So in B, what can you tell me? Can the velocity and mass be different and the momentum still be the same? Yes, they can. Now, in number 5, this is like what we did yesterday with the graphs. Let me make that graph a little bigger. All right. Now, this is the piece that a lot of people miss when we do this question. A class studied the speed and the momentum of a 0.25 kilogram ball. There is your mass right there. A lot of people miss that they're telling you the mass of the ball right there in that top piece of the question. So when you want to calculate the momentum, Drew, if you're going to talk to people in the hallway, you need to move back to your normal chair.
Here.
No, you're talking to yourself.
No, literally, look. Yo, somebody come and look into her. Ain't nobody out here. Because I wasn't talking.
I got you. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of people out there. I'm playing with ball.
I don't need a picture of it. Now, in A, all right, they're telling you a ball is dropped from a bridge, okay? So if a ball is dropped from a bridge, describe the point in the ball's motion at 0 momentum. So if we're talking about right here, it's 0 momentum. What can you tell me about the ball's motion there? It's standing still. The ball's not moving. It's 0 time. The ball is probably in your hands, and you probably haven't dropped it yet. But either way, the ball is not moving at 0 momentum. Okay? Sort of like Chris are you on the offense or the defensive line? Defensive line. It's sort of like he's standing there and he's getting ready for somebody else to hike the ball on the other side and for them to start moving. He is standing there perfectly still, waiting on his opportunity to lay somebody flat. Okay? Now, in B, at what time did the ball have the greatest momentum? Where would it have the greatest momentum?
0.5 seconds.
All right, can we all agree that right there is the greatest momentum? All right, so where would the greatest time be? Can we agree that that would be the greatest time? So what's the greatest time? 2.5 seconds. Okay. What was the peak momentum value? Where would we find the peak momentum value? We would read across this way, right?
Yeah.
So what's the peak momentum value? 6.5 kilograms meters over seconds. Now, the only thing you might have a hard time calculating is C. A and B are just literally reading the graph. So in C, what is the momentum of a ball at 1.25 seconds? 1.25 seconds. And read up, and then read over, and yeah, you got to estimate a little bit. So this is what?
5.
3.5. So you got to estimate. I heard Lewis say 3.4. So I hear 3.2, 3.3. So if you want to say, I heard 3.2, I heard 3.3, I heard 3.4. Any of those answers are fine first C, and that first question. Any of them would be fine. I could live with them all. Hey, Ms. Bostic, what's up?
I just need it. I don't want to go through this another class or I just want to make copies.
Go right ahead.
I don't
We're used to it. If I could charge a toll, I could probably retire a year early.
Really?
Yeah, it's okay though. If you don't mind.
Thank you. Hey.
All right. So the last question wants to know what is the ball's speed, right? Speed is the same as what? Velocity. So what'd y'all just get the momentum to be? Some of y'all said 3.4. Some of y'all said, Maria said, you're a 3.2?
Yeah.
All right, she was a 3.2. Somebody else said 3.3. So you're putting whatever number you read right here at P. If you said 3.2, put 3.2. Whoever said 3.4, put 3.4. Whoever said 3.3, put 3.3. All right, I'm going to put 3.3 because it's in the middle. Okay? Equals, what was the mass? What was the mass? What do we say? This is the piece that everybody keeps missing. I boxed it in. 0.25. And then times velocity. Okay? So, how do I find velocity? You're going to divide.
Dividing. 0.25.
What'd you get? This one was 13.6.
Oh, no.
13.2.
All right, 13.2 meters per second because the kilograms will cancel out.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Now, if you use 3.2, yours is going to be slightly different, and it's okay. Yours is going to be slightly different because you use a 3.2. You won't get the exact same answer. It's okay.
Oh.
Okay, Abigail.
When do you know how to do the opposite of what it says?
Of like this, when you have multiply, that's what tells you to divide. But if you had something like it, I'm just going to make some numbers up to put over here. Suppose you have 13 equals 1,300 divided by t. See how this is a divide? What's the opposite of divide? That's why you know to cross multiply, because it's a divide. Okay? So when you got to divide, that's when you know to cross multiply.
Right.
But here, because it's a multiply, that's how we do to divide.
But if it had a time, you wouldn't have to multiply, cross multiply?
Correct.
Yes, you would. Yes, you would.
Shush over there. Questions? All right, find your lab sheets.
Oh, we can't go.
Oh, man, that's another one.
Please.
Y'all are breaking me and going.
Oh, I want to pass them out.
I only got 2 packs.
We all can break a dollar. You know that. We all.
Randy, but that's your.
So we all can break a quarter. Give me what? Yeah, quarter.
Yeah.
Y'all don't keep the extras today.
Okay, hold on. Now, I don't need everybody.
Devin.
All right, pull your lab sheet out.
Oh, everybody's calling other people.
Good job.
But nah, but I really do need your help.
If you want juicy fruit, David has the juicy fruit. If you want the double mint, Maria has the double mint.
Hey.
I really need you.
And don't forget Timothy this time. Y'all forgot him yesterday. I know he's quiet, but make sure he has to go.
Hey, not quite.
All right.
He's just quieter here than the rest of y'all.
Really?
How you gonna skip read?
You didn't raise your hand, so
I'm waiting.
Thank you, Ms. Wall.
Thanks, man.
That light.
What?
Let me get some mint.
I heard that. Anybody else want to do some first? I called you first. You got me. How?
He didn't get no I don't think Maria. She skipped them, didn't she?
No, I got
Maria, did you get the marker one? Marco.
DeAndre.
I don't need.
I'm with DeAndre. Hey, look. I don't care.
Hello, what you doing?
Well, I got two. All right, does everybody have guns so I can talk about a couple issues on the lab sheet that some of y'all are gonna have, so I don't have to talk, so I don't have to explain the same question 400 times. So, everybody got the lab sheet out? All right. Let me get a lab sheet.
I got one.
Hey, that's my juicy fruit that I had there. Miss Law, you my juicy fruit.
Miss Wall, you didn't
I
take
didn't
none.
know.
What?
You didn't take none.
I didn't take it yet. You should have. Did you lose it?
I didn't get no gun.
Shut up, ho.
Oh.
I ain't know that word.
All right. I think all I have left of there's supplement.
Right.
All right. Now, the couple of things I want to point out. In question 1, several people keep asking me about this one. You're averaging this column right here. Okay? Several people keep trying to average chomps. It's asking you for chomping speed, so you're averaging there. Okay? You're not averaging the chomps. Now, when you average, you add all 5 together and then you divide by what? Okay. Now, when you get down here, all right, we're just going to make up some numbers from this wall. Let's say that I chomped. I'm not that fast. Good God. I know I chomp a lot, but 38, 67, and 145. I really picked up my speed there. All right. Now,
I'm 206.
I choose 111.
Now,
Oh, my soul.
when you get down here,
Like most
some of y'all shoot slower. It's okay. All right. When you get down here, you're going to take those numbers and calculate your speed. So 38 for this wall divided by 20, and I get 1.9 chomps per second. Then I'm going to take my other numbers. 67 divided by 40 seconds. And then I've got 145 divided by 60 seconds. So 67 divided by 40, I've got 1.675 chomps per second. Whoops. And 145 divided by 60 gives me 2.41 chomps per second. All right, and I'll give you a minute to do yours. Okay? Don't change the mind. Use your numbers. All right, do yours real quick. Calculate your speeds. Those are my speeds. Calculate your speeds.
Yeah, that's what I was asking about yesterday. We were about talking about.
Okay, so did you calculate your speeds? Everybody calculate their speeds. That way you have your own data. So you've already done your speeds.
Can you show me what you did?
I took
1.5.
Okay. I did your 85. Divided by 40. 127. Divided by 60. Okay. As well. Hang on. You're taking these numbers right here and putting them in here, here, and here. So you're using this formula. Chomps divided by time. So you're putting 39 right there. 39 divided by 20. All right, then you're going to take this. What's that? All right, then you're going to take 49 divided by.
You mean
All right, and here you're going to take 82 divided by 60.
so you can
You calculate all 3 of those. No. 70 divided by 20.
So delicious.
Oh, no, we didn't that.
You're taking your numbers. It's
Oh, I did it
choose
on my own.
your numbers, not
I
mine.
know how work.
Good job, here we go. Stocking shirt.
Oh, yeah. Wait, I want to be that. That came out
Yeah.
over there.
In this case, it's chunks per what?
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So if you know 70 chunks per
Hey,
what?
we just added.
All right, does everybody have their 3 times? Everybody got their 3 speeds?
Oh, yeah.
Or those 3 times? No. That's acceleration, deceleration. Hang on, that's what I'm going to show you. That's why I had you do that.
How many times?
All right, does everybody have their 3 speeds? Because number 2 and number 3 are the ones I want to do with you. All right, does everybody have those speeds? Because number 2 and number 3 are the ones I want to do with you, or show you how to do it.
Help, I fall when you can't get up.
I'm sorry, you look like you're sitting in a chair. No, you don't look like that.
Ah, help. I fall when you can't get up. I want life
That's it.
All right, and number 2. Number 2 is your acceleration and deceleration formula. So what's your acceleration formula? A equals VF minus VI. Okay. Now, you're doing this with 20 seconds and 40 seconds. All right. Now, everybody's got to pay attention to this and find your own data, because you're all going to have your own. Now, find your, because we're doing this with 40 and 20. So these are our 2 times, right?
Right.
Find your speed at 40 seconds. Mine is right here. So my speed is 1.675.
Okay, where would that go?
Wait, what?
That's why I wrote it right there. That way we can plug in the formula in a minute. My speed is right here that matches 40. 1.675. Okay? If I flip the paper down here to the bottom, my speed at 20 is 1.9. You look to see what your speed is at 20, and I'm writing it in the same spot, right above my 20. Okay? Does everybody have their 2 times or their 2 speeds written down?
So 40 would be VF.
So we're going with that. Now, the time and the speed you just wrote down right there at the 40 is your VF. That was your second speed. The one you wrote down at the 20 is your first speed. Okay? So does everybody have their speeds written down?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, plug it in your formula. So for me,
Wait, which one the first speed?
the first speed is the 20. Whatever you got at the 20. That's the VI. The VF is what you got at the 40.
I got negative 1.6. So the time would be.
The time's going to be 40 minus 20.
So you just pick up your speed.
Oh, okay.
All right, so what can you tell me about my chomping speed?
I don't know. Tell me.
What can you tell me about the number I boxed in?
It's negative.
So what happened to my speed? It went down. I slowed down when I was chewing. I decelerated my chomping speed.
Wait,
Wait a minute, but what if my
denominator is 0?
Your denominator can't be zero.
My denominator.
Oh, your what?
My denominator.
Your numerator.
My numerator.
Your numerator means that you have 0 acceleration, so you chewed at a what? Constant speed.
Hey, I'm at.
Then you would have 0 for acceleration, which means you chewed at constant speed.
Right, and I see, that's how I do that.
So that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why I said yesterday. Some of you would accelerate. Some of you probably got a positive number. Some of you decelerated like me, and some of you probably got 0 like you, Drew.
Yeah.
Per second. All right. So you got chomps per second. Per second. I left off one of my S's. Now the second one, number 3.
Oh.
You got one more to go. This time we're doing 40 to 60. So what's my speed at the 60 this time?
2.41.
Let's get it.
And what's my speed at 40?
1.675.
Okay. So again, what's my VF?
2.4.
2.4.
The 60. The VF is the 60, the 2.41 like you said. And what's my VI?
1.65.
All right, so the 40 is the VI. So again, we're plugging it in the same formula. A equals, for me, it's 2.41. Subtract 1.675 over 60 minus 40.
Calculator.
Oh, sorry.
You still?
I'm back. I fixed it. It should be here in a second.
You know what's lit?
Well, don't say that.
I got a question.
Yep.
You do 60 minus 40.
Yes, you did. 60 minus 40. And then divide. Yes.
Should I make that pussy split?
Now, if you notice mine,
Whoa.
I decelerated and then I accelerated.
Oh. You already know what I said, bro.
I'm gonna be doing that.
So Miss Wall slowed down and then I speeded
I
up.
got a E on mine.
Oh, hold on, I'll fix it.
I got law.
And if it won't fix it, then I will tell you what it is in numbers. And it may not, because your thing is so small.
So what do you do? Oh, you did
Oh, that's so
that.
bad. Afterwards, we're gonna see the double again.
That's a decimal. 3 zeros. 7.
She put
Decimal. 3 zeros. 75. And then put a negative in front of it. You're trying to the first one.
So I divide this and put it in.
Just put it 60
He's confusing me.
So you're gonna have for your 60, 1.35 and then 1.5.
Yes. But I
Who else has a question? Yeah.
Ooh, scaring me now to death.
Abigail.
Hey.
Hey, Joe.
I love you, baby.
Your number to go.
That's
Why not?
1.225. The one that goes to 20 is over here, so 1.95.
What if someone's calling me to, because someone's.
Man, stop. Just stop.
You do that?
Oh,
So you're part of your-
I was thinking.
Now, at this point, you should be able to answer the rest of the questions. Now, when you get to number 6 and plotting the graph, I didn't tell you which points you have to use on the graph. I actually left it open to where you can choose what you want to plot on the graph. Okay? So, you choose when it says plot a graph to show your gum chomping. I didn't say whether you had to use speed or chomps. So you choose whether you use the speed or the chomps. Okay? And then you have to make sure you label your axes, clearly number it, and connect the dots. And then tell me the type of graph it is. You should be able to answer 4 and 5 based on the numbers that you just calculated. So make sure you answer on the front.
Don't we label them as chunks in seconds?
Now, make sure
You know which one they are.
on the front that you labeled your units and your tables. There were a couple of you when I was walking around helping, your tables are blank. They have no units on any number, or they have half the table filled in with units. Make sure your chomps say what on the end. Chomp, time has what on it? Seconds, and the speed is?
Time per second.
Chomps per second. Don't leave your units off. Okay, then let us make it, so this one did what?
What about the time?
That one decelerated, so went down, this one did what? Accelerated. So no, this is It's okay. So you're telling me what happened? Are these consoles? No, because they're not synchronous. Now, are you accelerating or decelerating for the next question?
What's
That's
the
basically what I'm
unit
asking.
speed?
You should not be
I mean,
pushing.
time.
I'm giving back to you.
Okay. Where is you need your help again?
Huh?
You need your help
No.
again.
Which one of these
I don't
numbers
know.
is B?
No.
Well, why you
Not right
So
now.
you're gonna say,
I was asking you a list. Not,
Lock the court
Yes.
into the ground.
Why you asking that way?
track.
Oh.
What's BI?
could you use math for physical science?
Over. What do you do?
Don't do that. You just violated my monkey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What's your what? I'm on DeAndre. Just don't touch it.
He violated.
What do you do? You go 2 times.
Is that a sheep?
Yeah.
There's a sheep in a monkey.
That's a charge.
Miss Wallace.
That's why.
And you need to find a different word. I said you need to find a different word.
Right, you said violate your monkey.
Okay, now divide the bubbles on the bottom.
What do you
Everyone thought you talking about that.
Mom got the ball.
Well, you only got 30 seconds. You don't even count the 5.
Oh,
Guys, when y'all are doing the time on your graph, given you're only going 30 seconds, don't be like Chris and count by tens. You're only going over 3 spots. Count by tens. At least count by 5. Oh, okay. You skipped spots, so let's technically count by 5. Look, you have the dimensions. Now, you're going to use these 2. So your 40 is going to be.
I need help.
All right, then.
Well, why you come on you need to You used to look like Emmitt Smith play.
I'm going to laugh. You want extra memory.
Hey, look, like,
That'd be pregnant. You'd be pregnant, man. Hey, this.
Yeah, yeah. So I looked at all of them.
I like the jacket.
What's your question before I go hunt up graph paper for him?
Okay, so I use this for that, right?
Yeah. You can, that's what I'm telling you. You
What
can
is the unit
choose
for speed?
whether you
That-
want to use
that's-
this or whether you want to
You
use.
don't need to look at it. You
So how do I calculate? Oh, that's-
Make sure you get around your feet. Get
Some
some-
people choose to use this. Some people choose
Raise
to use
it.
that. Some people use that.
They
Because you
would
choose,
not.
because I didn't specify.
Okay. Where?
Please your number.
Every day,
What do you tell me?
all day.
Yeah, I know. It's a positive table. So what did it do? There you go. Carlos, you got it done?
I'll get that.
All right, come on.
I got it, Miss Wall. You ain't got a shirt.
Did you say you got it? You don't need graph paper?
I was trying to tell you that.
Anyone else has a question? Now that I don't need.
Can you read this for me? What
Did you accelerate or decelerate? What did you remember? What did it do? Are they positive or negative? So what you do? Exactly. Tell me why you know that. Did it accelerate or decelerate? Yeah. Are they positive or negative numbers? So did it accelerate or decelerate? Accelerate. Yes. You got to make it. You accelerated and. You accelerated and.
But now we are.
Decelerate. He only accelerated because he had what kind of numbers?
Yeah, that's it.
That's all I
That's good. Now, is that a positive or negative number? It's a negative number. All right. Now, see how you said your trumpet speed increase? Look at these numbers. What kind of numbers are those? So the increase
Wait, no.
and decrease.
Oh, wait, yeah.
Now, if they're negative numbers, did it accelerate or decelerate?
Ain't that a wall right there?
Same thing. Did you maintain a constant jumping speed? Look at your
Oh, I
numbers.
know. I don't see one.
No. Yeah, no, never mind.
Are those the same numbers? No.
That's the first.
Speed's all over the map. All right,
After that,
plus, if you look at your acceleration, you got an acceleration of 2.8. It'd be 0 if it was a constant speed. You don't have constant speed. Drew got constant speed because he got 0. Okay, then you got constant speed. You got 0 when you calculate it? Then you don't have constant speed. The only people who have constant speed calculate 0. Okay, then you would have constant speed. Finish. When you guys finish, get your test review sheet for me. What you don't finish is homework. You will not be impressed with the length and I grade review sheets.
You do?
Yes, always. Where? No, now tell me why.
Because my numbers are negative.
All right, I don't even have to say that. No, because it's not equal to what? It's not equal to. Constant speed would be 0. That's fine. Or you could tell me the speed decelerated because what? Exactly. That's all you gotta tell me. I mean, you can tell me use the formula, but what in the formula tells you?
That's my whole
Decelerate.
Keep fucking
Told me it would decelerate. Wait. All right, which numbers are you choosing to graph? You don't have to. You can graph these. You can graph the speeds. You don't have to. Honestly, it's probably easier to graph those. You mean you only chewed the gum 4 times in 30 seconds? Huh? You chew slow. You only chew 4 times in 30 seconds.
4 times in 30 seconds.
Or,
That's right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's.
All right, so just do those. Okay? Nope. These and time.
Never hit me with the ruler.
I didn't see it.
I'm trying to choose for. I'm
Put
trying to hurt
the
one side.
ruler up. You have hit me with the ruler.
I tapped her with a
If you're
No,
on,
you
And I was coming over there. Grandpa, let me see
I
that
am
ruler
fair to
that's
say, did you paint your elementary school? And one of the rules was keeping your hands to yourself.
I didn't touch
The
it.
ruler is an extension of keeping your hands to yourself, just like the.
He used that ruler.
this all, if you're grabbing,
Alright, I need to know something like constant speed, average speed, increasing velocity, acceleration, something like that.
it was almost constant because it was zero.
Yes.
So if it wasn't constant speed, it would be. Now, to answer Chris's question so that I don't have to do it over and over again, when you get to telling me the type of graph, instead of just saying increasing, you need to say something like constant speed, average speed, increasing
It's
velocity,
linear.
acceleration, deceleration, something like that.
Because that's the name of the graph, it's linear. If it's horizontal and straight, it's constant, right?
Yes,
I'm about to ask. Tell me the answer, bro.
yes,
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I'm the
So
man.
what I put here?
Yes.
Shut up. Sit down.
please don't get sick in here.
Talk to her.
Hey, Ms. Walker, you in just a second.
Why not, bro?
Can I come to you?
You got me sitting right.
No, I didn't.
I'm saying that.
All right, so when you do this, y'all need to put, hold on,
I love you.
see what you were gonna do. I can order my bread. Do that, like you were going to. You're welcome.
Nah, look.
Never my graph, bro. This is a concert. Well, I'm done.
You want
You want so you put on your desk?
Louis,
Not gonna show you your shirt.
Louis,
I
look at the
put
board. Look at the board.
I put
I don't know how to know.
I'm about to have to ask some shit out.
Mexican girl.
Get it done so that you guys can work on your review sheet for the test.
He's on my own graph. I don't know how to do it.
Number time, you gotta get 60.
Make it work.
Okay, you want it. So, count my five. Count my
You
five.
want to, right?
And then plot this three points.
I think it was.
Good. You count my five. So count 95.
Wait, so much chunks in my
You gotta get to 160. I'm gonna count this one. Space. I'm gonna go right, so. 5, 10,
No, we said
All right, you got them? Good. So, wait, when you're, and then is it constant speed, average speed? What is it? All right, if you think it is right.
You know how I think about it. Here if you want it.
What is that?
Please don't take points off.
Man, come on.
Please don't. I swear. Don't take points off. Yo, when she take points off, bro, all y'all gotta fight me.
For what?
Put it in standard review sheet.
You gonna take points off. I know you gonna take points off. Give me the law.
Now, those of you who are done should be working on a review sheet. If we're not gonna work on it, it'll just be homework and we'll move on to courses.
Oh, no.
We good. And it's a little class now.
You got the graph done? Need help? Turn in. Get your review sheet.
So I'm putting this in the bathroom.
Yeah. So 20 and 44. 20, another 44. Nathan, what's wrong? You get down the graph, take these points, count by fives up here and fives here.
All of this is broke down.
Block this and this, okay? Yeah, you got it all. You should know it all without having looked all up. Okay, so what kind of graph is it? Constant speed, average speed, increase in velocity, decrease in velocity, what? Average. You're right there.
That table we doing?
And then 60 to 100.
That's right.
Okay, so I'll put it on second. Right here.
Then count by fives on your second.
Oh, mine's not a straight line.
That oil was just constant.
There we go. Only those three.
Out of my eyes, babe. So why did you go to stop?
Yeah.
I am not a dog. Forecast.
Yes.
Why do you do that?
Yeah, I did time and those for.
Yeah,
What time of route is it?
Yes.
Oh, you go. Why you going out there because he said?
Wait, what?
So, second section, he said.
Wait, what? I wasn't paying attention.
I want to hear from you. Work on the review sheet. Okay?
There go my girl right there.
I know you get wings when I graduate.
No, I don't like him at all.
That's what I was doing the whole class. Hey, put it on my desk.
Boy,
Out
now,
of your pocket.
now let's be honest.
Not a man.
Work on your
Let's
review
be
sheet.
honest.
Be honest about
Come
what?
on.
He's not every, you know,
Okay, you got done? Put it on my desk. Review sheet.
what you want, nigga, though.
Oh, rapid.
Put it on my desk, basically what we did.
Miss.
Constant speed, average speed, increasing acceleration,
Mama
decreasing, okay?
Now I would do.
Good.
Constant speed, average speed, acceleration, deceleration. What is it? It has to be connected to the order.
Wait, can you say it again?
I agree.
Okay.
Constant speed,
That's.
average speed, acceleration.
Acceleration.
Alright, is it average speed? Constant
No,
speed,
that's
acceleration,
section, that's not
deceleration.
Oh.
Huh? Connecting to the origin. Always connected to the origin.
On the section, you cut by
Why you? Wow,
What's the frame of reference? It's gotta be, what kind of object? It's gotta be moving or stationary.
I got my notes.
What is the road, earth, the floor, the counter, all that stuff?
Let me stop.
All those things are the road signs, the benches, are all attached to the earth. On my desk, and review sheet beside it. Maria, get your review sheet so I can get to work.
I mean, before.
Hey, who come on, give me that. Thank you,
Don't use that
wait,
word.
go back to your stage.
I know I have frame of reference somewhere.
I know what it is. You did it right. It's in motion. It's motion.
Thank you, sir.
I was looking for it.
Come on, look at you, so I can wait.
It's ballin' in.
Thank you.
I'm in contact.
That's
Oh, it's fine.
Yes,
Yeah.
that sheet I gotta have. I can't grade if you don't give me.
Where we supposed to be?
I'll tell you at lunch.
What we have to listen?
I don't know.
Some of y'all are correct. That would be an answer, yes.
I'll put 3 answers on mine. Just saying.
All right. What's your name on?
He's about to
I
get
know
0. He's about to do that hill.
Is this the thing you're
Hey,
grading?
Marco.
I will bring that tomorrow, yes, it's homework, go into homework.
I'm not mad.
Work.
God, leave us alone.
On the test tomorrow. Everything we're doing
Tomorrow.
I gotta.
tomorrow.
I gotta. submit
I don't even
it.
know.
It's very cute.
I was even on to school tomorrow.
Put yours up there on my desk beside Nathan's.
You set yourself up for the hill.
It's very cute. Yes, sir.
Is the thing where everything's planned on, is it the runway or the catwalk?
Say what now?
Runway.
Runway.
Yes,
So I just.
yes. So time and chunks. So put your time down here and chunks are what you have. So 23 chunks or 20 seconds. So over 20 seconds. I would renumber these by like 5s. So you can go over 20 seconds and then up your chunks.
It was Diana.
Yeah, I might just take all those
I'm
lines.
with it. We rolling.
Count by 5.
I am.
Yes, on both. All right, does everybody have a review sheet other than DeMarco who's still
I need
working on?
Yeah, I was easy.
Who else needs a review sheet? Abby, you got one? Abby, you got one?
No, she don't.
I don't get.
How you not get it? See?
Shut up. Oh, no.
All right, what's the frame of reference? Has to be what kind of object, Maria? One that is not doing what?
Oh, I forgot about this.
So it's the salt
Oh,
water.
I'm moving.
It's not moving.
Miss Walker.
Okay, so question 2, You're looking for the objects that are not moving. What do you mean?
I took the wrong paper.
Oh, Jesus. Make my
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 bad.
If you know in 1 minute how many seconds are in a minute.
See?
So if that's your chomps per second, how many chomps would you have over 60 seconds? Now, you see this where it says show your work? Show your work. You got no work, genius.
I define it. I mean, I erase
You gotta show it. Yeah.
Like that's right.
No.
No, it's not multiple choice. In each one of them, I want you to tell me what the frame of reference is. So if you are standing on the sidewalk watching a bus move past, what would be the frame of reference? What is something that is not moving that tells you the bus is driving past you, you know the bus is moving?
The ground.
You need something that is not moving, Maria. So you ride the bus to school?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're standing there watching the bus come to pick you up in the morning. Give me something that says to you, that's not moving, but the bus is. So what's not moving? Sure, a tree would be a great frame of reference. Okay? But the tree is not moving. That's what I'm asking y'all. You can tell me constant speed, average speed, acceleration, deceleration.
Acceleration. I forgot
Okay, so number 2, you're on the bus now. The passenger sees the ball roll down the aisle of the bus. What's not moving on the bus that says the ball is moving? Sure.
That little box right there that you have to that's it.
But the thing do move if you sit down, you know.
I like how you tell me this. Can you read it?
No, you do the next one.
I am.
What?
I'm smart. I am
Trust me, I
smart.
know she did.
I'm slow. You are on a flying comment. No, I gotta read out loud, bro.
Ms. Wall.
You are.
Yes.
Look out the window to see.
Yes.
Could we just say
Plane
short
take
cut?
off.
You can, that's fine, as long as you know what it means, that's fine.
I forgot, what does it mean?
It is.
The displacement is the difference between start and stop.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's the difference between start and stop. All, distance is everything,
Are you sure?
totally.
Oh, don't play with me.
Stop,
You said the difference on the start and stop.
yes,
Miss.
What is the most common?
And just getting homework, miss.
yes, which is why I've been trying to push y'all to get going.
Oh.
I'm just there, man.
We already know that.
Miss Wall.
Yes,
I forgot how to calculate the average.
which one you got? Which question?
It
Alright, so number 10,
is.
this is the one because it's got all these different times and different distances. This is
Oh my
the
God,
one.
look at that.
I told y'all this.
I don't know.
Alright, oh, that one, it's just told us. Alright, who else has a question?
I did.
Shush.
I did.
You do? You got a question on the graph? Marco?
Is there a difference between
Did I do it right?
distance and displacement?
Looks right. So is it constant speed, average speed, acceleration, deceleration? What is it based on what you drew? Alright, average speed is, total distance, total time.
Yeah.
Right here, I wrote acceleration because
It depends on
on the
what
graph,
you label.
on the graph, I want to get
Okay.
What?
Speed or chomps?
That's how I turn it.
Okay, so if it's chomps and time, it's not gonna be acceleration.
That's all.
Grab that review sheet right there. Turn it.
This is right.
Was what?
Displacement.
Displacement is the difference between start and stop. That's the official definition. Okay, the difference between where you start and stop.
Displacement.
Now, you can technically put it in shortcuts if it helps connect it in your brain for you. Okay?
Yeah, like the parking lot.
Like the parking lot, the parking lot. But the definition is the difference between where you start
Boy, I used to
and where you
park
stop.
on the Fourth Street.
Between where you
I
start
just use your nose.
and where you stop. I know.
And she got it out.
When you what?
Where you start and stop.
Stop. A, B.
Stop. Okay, first of all, don't do
First
it.
of all, what's first of all?
Because she has to go slow.
What's first of all?
First of all,
A ball.
a ball.
I thought it was a ball.
No, it's a ball.
What's this?
Oh, we.
This place when you find out what kids
No,
got.
not conflict. What?
And that's not.
Ew.
You're not alternative teacher. Okay,
Jacob Green, please report to the front office. Jacob Green, please report to the front.
She just told you what, if she was in, just give me what this place was. That's my distance.
Oh, I mean, that's this.
You add this.
Oh, no, no, travel.
Listen.
This place, you take out your hands.
Wait, stop.
Take out your hands.
It's over there. Amount of what?
Oh, my God.
What? Yep.
I'm single.
No, really. Total amount of travel.
Marco, Marco, you gonna be able to field next year? You gonna be able to field next year? You scared?
Dog, you're waiting. Yes.
That's why I put my gloves. Look.
All right, then, Marco, go sit down and get to work.
I ain't looking about.
Because you and I both know you're not gonna do all this for homework.
You have me.
I know.
That's what happens to him.
Which means tomorrow, if that's all you got,
Nah, nah,
you
nah,
might get a 10.
nah. I know this.
That's right. I'm grading you, regardless of what's in your head.
I'm taking
You
a
get
minute.
points based on what's on the paper.
I'm gonna get a minute. What?
Oh. Oh my
So
goodness.
it's over for you. You think you got 5.
Oh, boy.
I'm gonna do 10.
Or you like me?
I'm gonna do 15.
Does constant speed have direction or no?
No, speed has no direction.
It's a lot.
No, speed has no direction.
Yeah.
No velocity.
Yeah.
Velocity does.
Do right.
Good time. Get smart. Good time.
It's easy, bro.
Good.
You can watch phone.
You have a question, I'll be glad to answer. I may all that noise though.
Oh, you say you're taking this for,
Tomorrow.
I'm skipping over.
Now use it on
You
the
just
test.
come on.
Ew.
You can use it on the test now.
She asked
Got
me
two
to
studies.
You can't have this.
Oh, sorry, stop. What's wrong?
Not playing. You don't. Not playing.
Hopefully they just borrowed it.
What were you gonna say? You were gonna say something.
I said, like, nothing.
Who has a question for me?
Okay, no.
Nathan, you got one?
This does not tell me.
Yes, it does. You don't use mine? Mine know it's old. Yeah.
No, it don't tell me.
They fine?
If I don't.
How you gonna tell me? Nah, you don't want to see me?
Look, I show up on your right.
Hmm?
Right. Show.
Yes, you have to show your work
I'm with.
on the map.
Ms. Law, I got, another question. On this
Yeah.
S equals V over T.
Yep.
And it's miles, you got miles and hours, would you put miles per hours or would you put miles?
You can put MPH in.
You can put miles over hours or you can put miles slash hours. Either one is the same thing. Doesn't matter if it's directly over or if it's a slash. They mean the
Well, I'm
exact same
saying
thing.
P combined, miles per hour.
Yeah, you can put MPH if you wanted to. That would mean the same thing too. Carl.
Can you put MPH/S?
You saw before me on that.
If you were talking about acceleration, yes. Yes, I would take that for acceleration.
I'm doing the steps you either way.
Who else has a question?
I have a whole bunch.
Ask.
I want to call me slow.
That's how you slow. Based off maps.
I was gonna question. You have questions?
This way.
Mhm.
So this one. Would you use this?
This one you have on,
Or would you just divide it?
Everything.
Which one? 27? Because you're looking for momentum. Alright, P equals, what's the mass?
My note's not helping me.
Actually,
145? Or
What unit does mass have?
No, nothing about.
that's all I'll do.
Is it a kilogram or is it a meter per second? So 5 is the mass, and then times
Okay, but I'm
equals velocity. Yep. Exactly. What are you yelling about, Maria? Get over here.
She has to read it.
It's my movie. Anyway, we.
I'll do it on a different sheet of paper because I like to read and I like to see my thing.
That's fine, do it on the sheet of paper. I'm not saying you gotta do it on mine.
Oh, yeah.
Same direction, you subtract.
Average speed. Oh, average speed.
Different direction. I use the subtract.
15 miles. Okay. Oh.
Alright, so if you do number 25, how do you find deceleration?
we are allowed to use it this one, right?
For this, yeah, certainly.
Yeah, all you gotta do is square. So A, B, C square.
Yeah.
You got 3 numbers. We have 2 numbers.
But that's when we cancel out. So you don't do now.
Yeah, that's what this is.
So you would
Same
do
direction. Yeah. Opposite direction.
20 minutes, 5?
Alright. See how it says 5 seconds? Seconds is a what? Is that a velocity or a time?
That's fine.
So that has to go in where?
12.
Under.
Okay, so put it under.
Like that, right?
Use your units to help you figure out where the numbers have to go. That's why I'm so OCD about the units, because it can help you figure out where the numbers have to go in the word problems. Okay? That means this and this have to be velocities. Now, which one's written first? Then that's the I, that's the initial. Which one's written second? That has to be the final. Or the VF. So, did you write them in that order?
Wait, did they say average? Yeah, average, you got average.
You don't have to worry about doing that.
Yeah, you meant to make sure I answer.
So wherever you.
VF is the second or final.
That's what this plan.
VI is first or initial. That's what those letters stand for, okay? So, I want you to look at the way you wrote this. You wrote 100 minus 20.
Isn't the average you have on 11 and divide?
Yes. So, if you look at this right here, depends on what question you're talking about, though. Which one you looking at?
11.
No, you're gonna. That's total distance over total time. Add up all the distances and all the times. It's the only one that works that way. So if you look at that, that's the first velocity, right? Which one of these in this formula is the first?
You do 5.
So that has to go where? Here
Oh, it
or
has to
here?
go on 12.
That's right. And then the second one is the final, so it needs to go here. See how you flip that? Now, it's not a problem. You're going to get the same number. What does this word say? So it should be what kind of answer when you calculate it? That's right. So when you calculate that tomorrow on the test, if you flip it, you're going to get a positive number. Just make sure you pick what answer.
So acceleration is positive.
And deceleration is negative. That's right. So if you accidentally flip that tomorrow on the test, you're going to get the same number. It's just going to be positive. You need to make sure you pick the negative number. Okay?
Number 18,
Not doing the job, bro.
Okay, so, how
Yes, the only difference is one is going to combine
So
because they're going opposite directions and one's going the same direction. Okay? So in 18, when it says they're traveling downstream, See how it says one's traveling downstream and the other's going downstream? That's doing what? Are they going the same direction or the opposite direction? Same. See how it says that? Look at the way it's worded.
Both going down.
They're both going downstream, Nishan. Okay, now look at
So I
number
gotta do the V.
19. See how it says one's going upstream, the other's going downstream? So what is happening there? They're opposite, so there you're gonna do what? Yes. Okay?
Is that VOBT?
Is what? That would be D over T. Yes, 'cause that's an average speed. D over T with a curve would be acceleration.
So that's the same, right, same thing.
Yes, that would be average speed. Is that what you're shooting for?
Yeah.
Yes, that would be average speed. Yes, ma'am.
First part,
Do you have the notes? A frame of reference is something that's not moving. Okay? So like in here, if I get up and walk around, you can tell I'm moving because there's something in this room that's not moving. Okay? So what are you sitting around that's not moving?
You can't say people.
You can't say people. Okay? So what in the room is not moving because I move around? The desks, what else? The chairs, Drew's trying to point it out to you. Why is velocity, okay? So, like in question 2A, you're talking about, you ride the bus in the morning? Okay, so you're standing there, you see the bus coming, you tell the bus to move. What's something that's around you that is not moving, but the bus is moving? The mailbox. The mailbox would be a great frame going in the ground. Signpost would be a great frame of reference. The road would be a frame of reference. What? Velocity is important because you got to know direction. For example, on the highway.
This one?
If you're going north towards Greensboro, you get on the northbound side going south. And you have a traffic accident. Same with airports. If you have to get on a runway, fly out going in the east direction and the plane goes in a westerly direction, your plane's gonna crash.
It's hard right now. Just have the terms.
All right, we're down to about 3 minutes.
Yep.
If they ring the bell on time, which they've done okay today. So if you will, put your calculator in the tub and put the chairs back. What you don't have done is what? Homework. Okay? What you don't have finished is homework.
This is two homework, so one week is long.
I know, you won't have homework tomorrow or Friday.
I said, we better have that Friday, that's my birthday. And it's your holiday.
I will hold myself back. No homework tomorrow, Friday.